Ben
Ben
10 going
10
to the movies.
Yeah, so we're doing the entire trilogy of the classic Ben 10 movies today because when I realized that we were going well over 4 hours for the for the series yesterday, I thought, yeah, it's probably best to split this up.
Purely for our sanity, because if we were to talk about the movies in one in one video,
It would
then
have been like probably 6 hours long, a 6 hour long video. Um, But yeah, so the movies themselves were very interesting because we got three very distinct art styles for them. We got the classic animation for Secrets of the Omnitrix. We got live action for Destroy All Aliens, and then we got 3D for Race Against Time.
other way around for those last two.
Oh, okay, all right. Point is that we got different animation styles, which was very very unique for a series to do because normally you would expect them to do it in like one art style.
Yeah, but I think that's very much so like a thing of like its time where because Ben 10 was so popular, like they could like afford the budget to make a giant live action movie. Granted, this movie didn't like come into theaters. The budget of Race Against Time was like $5 million. The fact that like just in 2 years they could pump out a live action movie is honestly impressive in of itself.
Yeah, yeah, and also since we're on the topic of the animation, something that I failed to mention in like our initial video again, it was because it was 4 hours long. There were two things. One of them would be the question of um, everyone probably has this question for a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I've never seen that before." Like, how have you not seen this popular thing before? And I'll say it now. I did not grow up with Ben 10 because, like with Total Drama, I did not have the equivalent of cable TV over here. Growing up, the closest I had it was with my grandparents. Ironically, considering who Max's mentor, who Ben's mentor is for the franchise, but yeah. So my grandparents were the only ones that had cable TV when I was growing up, and yeah, going over to how it was very difficult to get like to watch anything because my granddad was the unruly dictator. I shouldn't say dictator, but unruly authority of what is shown and when it's shown. Now, not to say I didn't love my granddad. I did, but he was very attached to his sports. He loved his sports.
Honestly, same thing with like my uncles and my dad. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So I can. So hey Ben, at least we have something in common. We both have grandparents who have things that we don't agree with. You don't agree with Max's cooking. I'm like, oh, why do we have to watch sport all the time? But yeah, so that's the reason why I never watched Ben 10 or Total Drama growing up. And with the art style for the Ben 10 series in of itself, I thought watching it, I'm like, it's very grainy. They're going for like a very grainy grindhouse type of style in the backgrounds, if that makes sense.
Probably to emulate like the backgrounds of like a comic book.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, those were the few things that I failed to mention last time. So now I guess we can start talking about the movies, starting with Secrets of the Omnitrix, which they call it a movie, but honestly, if you go by the wiki, it's classed as episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 4.
Yeah, it's meant to like be kind of an in between of seasons 3 and 4, which is how we watched it.
Yeah.
And also
okay.
another fun fact about this movie, there are 3 different versions of this movie: red, gold, and blue. The only real differences is like what alien appears at the beginning. We were watching the red version, so we got Heat Blast in the opening scene with Dr. Animo.
Yep. So hey, if you're gonna watch one any version, you gotta watch it with the best villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what
Dr. Animo's in all versions, though.
Oh, okay. All right. So what? What aliens do you get for the blue and gold version?
In the blue version, you get Accelerate. And
Okay.
in the gold version, you get Eye Guy.
Okay.
Which would technically make Secret of the Omnitrix Eye Guy's first appearance.
Huh. That is wild to think about. So yeah, those are the major differences between the 3 versions of Secret of the Omnitrix. Aside from that, nothing from what Tyler has told me, nothing overall different aside from that little tidbit.
Yeah. It still begins with Gwen and Max being kidnapped. Ben comes in to save them. Dr. Animo has like a DNA bomb, and because he can't turn it off, he decides to try to overload the systems.
Actually do.
Yep. With either Heat Blast as fire, Eye Guy's energy, or Accelerate pressing every single button imaginable.
Well, hey, if you're gonna just press random buttons, Accelerate. See what one has to work.
Very taking a lot of inspiration from Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought then.
No worries.
Yeah. So the other thing that I took away from this opening is the monster that Dr. Animo fights Ben with. It's very based on Stinkfly.
Yep. I think because he like nabbed some of like Stingfly's DNA from
wasn't it from like the episode where Animal turned the T-Rex skeleton into an actual skeleton?
No, I think he nabbed it from with Dr. Animo and the Mutant Ray.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because he turned Grandpa Max into like that weird little.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to suppress that memory, Tyler. Trying to suppress that memory, just like how I think a lot of people are trying to suppress their memory of what happened in the Chainsaw Man chapter today.
I'll say.
Yeah, that was like, say what you will about some series, like wow, Chainsaw Man went hardcore this week.
Yeah. Be sure to check out Vex and Red's video on that over on Khaos Squared.
Yeah, because that is good. That is gonna be a real doozy of a video when they do that. Like, oh my word! Like I swear to God, I'm gonna bring it up now. Fujimoto has been in a private meeting with Mayuri from Bleach and Dr. Animo from Ben 10, just thinking out how can we screw up everyone in our series.
Yeah. But getting back on track, because of the DNA bomb and nuclear reactor overloading, something seems to be going on with the Omnitrix. Ben's transformations aren't the most stable, and for some reason, the Omnitrix has a hint of orange now.
Yep.
What could this mean?
When I first saw that, I believe I remember asking you, like, is that Master Control?
Oh, no, it is not.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So anyway, we have a little bit of a side tangent because we're like with us, Ben 10 like side tangents. So we have them going into a mall to they're going clothes shopping because Ben has the same outfit. I love the fact that they do point that out because it's never really pointed out like, yeah, we're wearing the same outfit over and over again. Don't we have any different clothing? But the outfit that Gwen gets from the mall is actually a very interesting outfit that she has, which I wish she actually kept.
On it, I noticed like her outfit here is kind of reminiscent of her outfit in Alien Force.
Oh, okay, all right. So,
yeah, particularly in Alien Force Season 3, just kind of different colors.
Okay.
But because a giant pulse of energy came out of the Omnitrix, knocking Ben into a bunch of clothes, they get banned from an entire mall after causing trouble in one store.
Yeah, it's like, what? Okay, ban them from the store, I can understand that, but from the mall? It's like, wow. Seriously. And it's at this point where where oh no, that's for later that Ben gets grounded. No, because it's in this movie that he gets grounded, isn't it?
No.
Oh, that's for later. Because I remember Tetrax being involved in that, but I believe that's in Destroy All Aliens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
In this movie, we do get the return of Tetrax ever since Hunted.
Way, it's nice. Yay! How have you been, big diamond guy? Oh well, you know, I've been scouring the cosmos. I could have come and helped you all those times. I could have come and helped you in that Gladstone Arena, Ben. Could have come and helped you when Phil Gax landed on Earth, but you know, I had stuff to do off screen that I'm never going to mention. Go ahead.
Tetrax reveals that the Omnitrix is currently in self-destruct mode.
Yeah, and question, why would they employ something like that?
In case the Omnitrix were to fall into the wrong hands?
But I really can't argue with that logic. But seriously, it's like, okay, you would think that. Actually, that's a question. You would think that Tetrax would have at least warned Ben about that, like, hey, this device has a self-destruct mode. Be careful.
Well, it never activated, unlike now. Because with the self-destruct mode, it will destroy not only the watch, but the user and the entire universe if the charge builds up.
Yep. Also, hello Alicia. Nice for you to join us. Yeah, if you want to check out the previous Ben 10 video we did, feel free. But I warn you, you will need some snacks for it because it's 4 hours long.
Yeah, like if need be, you can like play it in the background while you're I don't know, petting a duck or some shit. I
don't know. Yeah. So yeah, because it's in self-destruct mode, there's only one cure for it. Is it fiddling with a screwdriver again to unlock master control? Nope. Is it sticking that button down with a plate of gum to stop it from self-destructing? Nope. We've got to go and see the creator of the Omnitrix, Asmarth. Have I pronounced it right?
Asmith.
So yeah, we're getting to meet the creator of the Omnitrix here.
Yep.
Wait. Oh, go ahead.
Ben, Tetrax decides to take Ben alone. But Gwen stows away on the ship, as we'll find out later. We also get introduced to Tetrax's partner in crime, Gluto, who pilots the ship. And despite only appearing in this episode, in this movie, Gluto is the glue goat.
I knew you were gonna try and make a pun like that. Yeah, again, Gludo is another one-off character that that really should appear more. But there's this weird moment with Tech Tracks on the ship when Ben is pointing out the differences in the bodies and everything, and Tech Tracks just pauses for a moment, like it's like he didn't know how to respond to it, and he was just like, "Oh crap, I don't know how to respond to this question for Ben. Think of a way to get out of it."
Yeah.
So, and of course, at this moment in the series, Vilgax is out of the null void. How is he out of the null void? Don't question it.
Yeah, I guess he just left Kevin behind to rot.
Yeah. I have a question. We are going to see Kevin in Alien Force, aren't we?
I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Okay. Okay. So I guess it's never explained how what's happening with him in the null void, or maybe it is. I'll just have to wait and find out. But yeah, this is the also as well the first. I mean, we saw them in the what if quote unquote finale that we watched for the series, but in terms of the current storyline, this is the first appearance of Ben's parents.
No, that's in later.
I put that down as like one of my notes. Ben's parents' first appearance. Huh. I guess it was in the wrong area. But anyway, so we have Tetrax warning Ben not to use the Omnitrix because the more he uses it, the more it speeds up the self-destruct. So naturally, Ben is going to use it as much as he can.
Yeah. Their first stop is on the space prison in Karsakon, where it just seems to be kind of just be straight up anarchy.
Yeah, and it's here where we see like various cameos from different aliens that we've some of them we have seen throughout the series. Like I believe we see like a heat don't we see one of Heat Blast's species in this prison? Or yeah, and I know we also see one of Stinkfly's species as well. That is one of the more prominent like cameos.
I've noticed Heat Blast, Stinkfly, I think Ripjaws, Upgrade, I think Forearms as well.
Okay, all right. So it's nice that we got to see a lot of these different cameos of these aliens outside of the Omnitrix. But this is also where we get introduced to Miax, who basically is a nice female version of Vilgax. Yeah, and I do honestly like how it's portrayed here, because of the fact that Ben knows Vilgax and sees like this person who looks exactly like Vilgax running towards him and thinking like, this is bad news, I've got to get out of here. But before actually thinking out, oh wait, they're actually a nice person. So I do like that.
We also have the reappearance of 6-6.
Yep, we do.
And I think it's also here where we actually do get to see 6-6's face proper. Like, that, like we actually see 6-6's face without the helmet, which
yeah. Wait, I'm honestly like 6-6. Put the helmet back on. Yeah. So we have obviously Vilgax catching up to them and being in the Frankenstein space because of course he Of course he's going to catch up to them. It's like he has a magnet attack. Well, actually, yeah, the Omnitrix is like a magnet, and Vilgax is like it's like the pole's like I'm going to get to you no matter what, Ben. But also as well, it's in this moment. Moment where Ben is asked what it truly means to be a hero for him, helping all the thrill of being a hero, and I think Ben, as throughout the series, has really demonstrated that he can enjoy both aspects of them.
Yeah, but I do like this scene because it really calls into question Ben's MO to fight.
Yeah.
Which honestly it later goes to show Ben's growth as a hero as we get off of Inkarsicon and off to the planet Xenon.
Yep, which they get on after having an intense battle and crash landing. Real smooth landing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, at this point, Gwen, because they have no idea what to do with Gwen in this movie, they're like, let's just have her get captured again.
Well, they make it seem like Gwen's actually dead. Same thing with Gluto.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They actually did think that she was dead.
Yeah, and Ben has a moment while in Forearms where he's like beating himself up over the fact that he lost Gwen. He's like, "It should have been me."
Oh yeah. Because I remember doing the Yu-Gi-Oh meme, like it should have been me, not him. It's not fair. Yeah. But again, showing Ben's growth there, like the fact that despite all their bickering and everything, he does care about Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But can you imagine if Gwen actually died and like how he would that would have been an interesting plot point for Alien Force if Gwen had died and Ben had to explain to not only Max, not only his parents, but Gwen's parents as well.
That would have been wild.
Yeah, that would have been, and like, I've got so many ideas running through my head. Okay, Gwen dies, but is infused with the power of the element things that Hex has, so that she comes back to life, but she's all magic now. That would have been interesting. But anyway, so it's eventually revealed that Gwen and Gluto are not dead, but this also the point where Tektrax reveals his backstory and his history with Vilgax, how he used to work for Vilgax and essentially caused the destruction of his own planet. So if anyone knows about survivor's guilt, it is that guy.
Mm-hmm. That backstory will actually be expanded upon later as well. So.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
But Tetrax and Ben eventually make it to where Azimuth is hiding. Well, not hiding, but is stowed away. And we find out that Azimuth is actually a member of gray matter species, the Galvans.
Yep. So it's. I think. Do you think this was all a ploy by the creators to say, "Hey, the little guys can create the most powerful thing in the universe"?
I mean, it's been established that like Galvans are like super duper intelligent.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Which, because I was watching Doctor Stone earlier with someone else, I could just imagine like the Senku being grey matter and a character like Magma being Heat Blast. that actually that would be something that I would have to think about now. Like, what aliens would represent the Doctor Stone characters? Now that I've brought that up. I mean, obviously, Suika would be Cannonbolt, but I digress. So after Gwen is revealed to not be dead, we have probably one of the most heartwarming moments in the series, where Ben's just like, "I'm just gonna hug her," and just gives her like the biggest hug. So that was sweet. That, yeah, Ben, you may not want to admit it, Gwen, you may not want to admit it, but you two care about each other.
They do.
Mhm.
We also and Ben has a moment with Azimuth where he's like, we're like, yeah, because Azimuth is like, why should I bother helping you? You and Vilgax are one of the same, just abusing the Omnitrix for your own personal gain.
Which he's not wrong. Ben has really been abusing the power of the Omnitrix.
Yeah, but Ben then retorts that, yeah, he has used the Omnitrix for personal gain, but in that he also has helped a lot of people as well, unlike Vilgax.
And that's a good comeback. Go ahead.
He cares about other people, and not unlike
Vilgax.
I mean, yeah, unlike Azimuth, which he calls Azimuth a jerk.
Which, yeah, that's a great comeback for Ben, and again, it ties back into what was asked of Ben earlier, like, why are you a hero? Is it helping or the thrill? And it's basically, that's his answer. It's like, I do it for both.
Then
go ahead.
Then we have Azimuth removing the core of the Omnitrix, and Ben's like, well, great, now I'm useless. I can't transform. I can't go hero. But it's Gwen that pulls Ben out of that state, being like, Ben, the watch doesn't make you a hero. You make yourself a hero.
Yeah, it's kind of like... go ahead.
I was just about to say that, as she says that, like, you're already a hero even if you can't go hero.
Yeah, because that pretty much reminded me of... you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you remember the scene where Tony Stark takes away the suit from Peter Parker in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Peter's just like, I'm nothing without the suit, and Tony says, if you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it. It's kind of the same thing here with Gwen, who's basically saying like, you're not these aliens. You are not. You don't become an hero just because you have like all these aliens behind you. You are a hero because you are doing the right thing for others whilst also benefiting yourself. Yeah, and I think it's also Gwen in her own roundabout way, as corny as it is, basically telling Ben like, you're my hero, not the aliens that you turn into. You. As corny as that sounds.
Yeah. And then Ben, with like this weird like Mega Man style arm cannon, just goes in guns blazing against Vilgax's robots.
Yes.
And then Azimuth comes back with the core of the Omnitrix core, and it's here where he gets a new alien. The Toku Star specimen of the Omnitrix, way big.
Which I've got to say, I did put that way big, way lame name. It honestly, it should have been Cosmic Storm. Like, can you imagine just this giant alien turning, and it's called Cosmic Storm?
Funny enough, way big species, the Toku stars, are actually born from cosmic storms.
Exactly. So why not just call it Cosmic Storm? But yeah, so the final battle of this movie comes down to Weibig versus 6-6 and Phil Gax's forces.
Yeah. Well, it's basically just way big tossing Vilgax into space.
Yeah. To put it in simple terms, Weibig pwns all those noobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really here, like he single-handedly defeats all the forces with a little help from Tech Tracks, defeating 6-6. So after the battle, we have Azimuth building a ship from the scattered parts of the robots, and I do like what Ben does here. He's like, look, this was never mine to begin with. I do like how Ben's basically admitting, like, I wasn't the one who was meant to have the Omnitrix. So if you want it back, you can have it back. But Azimuth says, like, no, you can keep it because the sole purpose of building it in the first place was to create a better understanding of the beings of the universe, which is nice. It's nice that he had that mentality all along.
Mm-hmm. We'll later find out that wasn't the sole reason, though. But that's for when we get to Ultimate Alien.
Okay. And then he reveals that he was moved by Ben's advice about thinking of more than just himself, and tells Ben like he can make that understanding happen. Then if Ben can make Azimuth, the creator of the Omnitrix, understand that way of using the Omnitrix, then he's like, yeah, I don't see why you shouldn't keep it. But also, I do like that Ben brings it back to Master Control, because it's like, hey, you're the creator of the Omnitrix. You should know about Master Control. Can you tell me what it is? But Azimuth is just like, nah, you got to find it on your own. Which I assume he does at some point in Alien Force. He finds out like how to fully unlock Master Control. But again, we'll just have to wait and see on my part.
Yep.
So
overall, this was a fantastic movie.
Absolutely. We got the return of a pretty cool character. We had Ben finding out what it truly means to own the Omnitrix, and again, Ben and Gwen, despite their differences, admitting that they care about each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
But moving on to Ben 10, Race Against Time.
Race Against Time.
Live action movie.
And I've got to say, compared to many of the live action movies that are live action movies or general live action adaptations, this wasn't half bad.
Yeah, especially for what it is. Like,
yeah. It does seem to take place right after season 4 in terms of the timeline.
Yeah, but it this movie is non-canon, kind of,
sort of. But I think we can both agree that we could everyone, you could put down your torches and pitchforks. The theme song's in there.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is a really nice rendition of the theme song. It's got like a real like techno vibe to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I'm thinking more of like a rock vibe with like with the guitars going like
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, going into this movie, going into the live action movie, we when we first see Ben and hear him, there's no doubt that is Ben. That is Ben 10 right there. That Ben
Yeah,
Tennyson right there.
like for a lot of our mainstays, like I think they are cast very well.
Yeah. For me, the only exception was for the beginning of it was let me get it up. Ben 10 Race Against Time. It was I was kind of a bit like unsure with Lee Majors how he was portraying Max, but by the end of it, I was like sold on his performance.
I was very sold on his performance.
Oh yeah, you were. It just took a time. I think it just for me, it seemed like it took a while for him to like settle into the role.
Yeah. But honestly, Graham Phillips as Ben, perfection.
Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfection. I want to know, has he done anything more since it? Graham Phillips. Um, just looking. Anything recognizable that he's done? Hmm. He's in the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game. Yeah, he plays Harry Osborn in that.
Sweet.
Yeah, but he's done for the most part. He's done really shows that I'm not familiar with and films. I mean, he's done a few like theatre productions that I'm familiar with. One of them being Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. I'm well acquainted with that play. So yeah, it's not like he's not been out of the action. It's more like he's more gone like more out of the Hollywood scene. There we go. That's the best way to put it. And also we had Haley Ram as Gwen, who, yeah, she was Gwen. She had Gwen down to a T.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, I believe for Ben's parents in this movie, Sandra and Carl, I do believe their actors in this movie do come back to portray them in Alien Force.
I know. I'm looking at it. Yeah, they do. So I know. Beth Littleford does do Sandra. I'm looking at Dawn McManus. Very quickly. It doesn't look like he does. Let me call Tennyson. Let me have a look. So, oh no, he does. He does come back for Alien Force. So yeah, they do. It's nice that we did get that they did come back to voice the characters in the actual series.
Yeah, I will admit, I'm not exactly a big fan of how they're like the hippy dippy parents.
Yeah, and this was one of the big things that it's a running thing throughout the film that they try so hard to be called to have Ben call them by the first names, and I'm just there scratching my head, like thinking, like, why? What is the point of it?
I guess to like try to make Ben feel comfortable and open, which I applaud them for trying to be warm and welcoming and trusting towards their kid. Like I love I will always applaud that for parents trying to be somebody who for parents to be the like a person their child can rely on, because of course that's important for a
Yeah,
child to know that uh at the very that a child can rely on their parents to be and not have to hide from their parents. But like
yeah,
this whole like hippy dippy thing, like I don't know why, I just kind of find it a little I can't believe I'm saying this unironically, but find it a little cringy.
yeah. Yeah. It was very cringy what they did with Carl and Sandra here. But anyway, so the movie itself, like we said, it starts off pretty much after the road trip in an alternate non-canon timeline, and Ben and Gwen are back at school. So naturally, they're gonna naturally. Ben is having trouble. Just I can understand that. Like Ben has been on this road trip. He's been all these days. He's been a hero. Now he has to go back to school. It would be hard. It would be a bit of a shell shock for someone like him to be like, great, I'm back. Great, I'm back to normal. Nothing's going on. No more road trip. No more going out fighting bad guys. So yeah, I do like that about him. Like he just has trouble adjusting back to the quote unquote normal life. But then again, Ben, your grandfather is a superhero from space. You do not have a normal life in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
We also do meet a new villain for this movie, the Cronian Eon.
Yeah,
and
and
his goal is to save his dying race by using Ben as sort of like a conduit for his conscience and powers.
now, if that sounds familiar to people, it does, because it's pretty much very similar to what Saskara would do. So my question of this was like, why wasn't Saskara the villain of this film?
Perhaps he'd be too hard to animate because he'd have to be like full CG.
I guess. But I'm just saying, like, if you're going out of your way to create a new villain, but his motive of just like wanting to possess Ben, and it just reminds you so much of another villain. It's like, why bother creating this new character if you're just gonna do the same motive? Very similar motive.
Well, to be fair, the scare is more about like the power for himself rather than like trying to save a dying race and having the said dying race take over a planet.
Fair enough. But then again, Saskara wanted to take over a planet as well. He wanted to take over Earth.
Yeah, but that's for himself.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I would. It's just because I do like Saskara as a villain, and I want to see more of him.
Yeah, and don't worry, we do get that.
Yeah,
it's gonna take a little time.
Not that this villain isn't bad. It's just like compared to what's come before with Dr. Animal and with Saskara, it's just kind of like a bit, kind of villain. So yeah, and obviously because he's back in school, he has to deal with Cash and TJ and JT.
Yep.
Which results in and also Ben does his hand at trying to flirt with girls, and it's like, oh my god, that because the whole idea is like they're preparing for a talent show, and Ben's trying like, okay, I've got to find an act. Which I've got to ask you a question, Tyler. When you were at school, were you forced to take part in talent shows?
Not forced, but I did take part in a talent show.
Okay. So I guess Ben was just being forced to be a part of it in Bellwood, the most normal town in the world. So anyway, Ben tries to sign up flirting, and it ends up failing miserably, as it does. And Gwen has to step in and be like, okay, we're gonna be magicians together for this talent show. But also because of the bullying that Cash and JT are doing, even outside of school, when he's like going to the surf shack, I mean going to the diner, run by Angela from In Space. I mean Doris Dalton. Yeah, I'm making the comparison because the actor who plays Miss Dalton in this movie is the same actress that plays Angela in Power Rangers in Space. Which is nice. It's nice that there's that connection. Like, it's like they came up to her and said, so we need you to play a person who runs a diner who turns out to be in cahoots with some people from outer space. Can you do that? I was like, and she was like, yeah, I can do that. I did that back in the 90s for Power Rangers.
We also do see Ben transforming into gray matter, which
that had to come. I was trying to avoid talking about that because okay, for the most part, the CGI on the aliens, because we have 4 of the aliens that are used. We have Grey Matter, we have Diamond Head, we have Heat Blast, and we have Wild Mutt as like the 4 aliens that are used for this movie. For the most part, it's okay. For a TV movie on a limited budget, it could have been a whole lot worse. It really could have done. But the transformation sequence on Grey Matter is like the creepiest moment in the film.
Yeah. Like, especially if you like freeze frame on Ben's head becoming gray matters. Like, the freeze frame on it.
I am gonna try and get that freeze frame right now.
Okay, but basically, he uses gray matter to kind of mess with his bullies, and like he like whips up this like kind of like I don't know what to call it, like
it's kind of like a sort of like a baseball it's kind of like when you have the baseball gun in a baseball field but using the donuts.
No, they were pies.
Pies.
Like they're being sprayed by water and being barraged with pies.
Yes, they are. Gray matter transformation. Yeah. Here we go. I'm getting it right now. Oh, come on. Skip the ad. Yeah, I've got it right here. Sorry. Carry on, Tyler.
Gwen, back at the Rust Bucket, Gwen is going over some photos that she's doing for the school year.
Yeah, that right there for Grey Matter.
Jeez.
Yeah, we are taking that off screen right now. That's all we can stomach.
Yeah. We have
Gwen back at the school, and she's trying to figure out what she's actually going to do.
We have Gwen at the Rust Bucket, going through photos for the yearbook, and that's when she and Ben discover Eon, and Max goes on to say that they actually had Eon locked up in a plumber base for quite some time, but it turns out once he escaped, the guy looking over him is now just a wrinkled up corpse.
Yeah, so aged to near death. Which I've got to say that has to be like one of the creepiest ways to go. He just aged up rapidly.
Yeah, and hey, honestly, especially for being a TV movie, with a budget of $5 million, which is like the I believe it's just like the typical budget for like an independent film.
It is. It is.
But I gotta say, I really like how I really like the final product on how like the shriveled up corpse of that plumber looked.
Yeah.
We also see uh we also got uh Max going on about what on what Eon's after. He's after a artifact known as the Hands of Armageddon. Uh, with with this artifact, he can bring his race over to Earth. Through, I believe, bringing them over through time as well.
Mm-hmm. So to carry on for what Tyler was saying, we also find out that the location of the Hand of Armageddon is guarded by the few remaining plumbers in Bellwood, which include Mrs. Dalton, the postman, the fire chief, Mr. Hawkins, who is like who is also another. No, he's the he's the plumber. Mr. Hawkins is the postman. Mr. Hawkins is the postman, and we have also Principal Edward White.
Yeah, Ben's school principal.
Ben's school principal in this movie is a plumber. So it's just like, again, I have, if this was in the same, I know it's meant to be non-canon, but if this was in the same canon as the original timeline, it raises more questions about like how Carl doesn't know about any of this.
Well, to be fair, that episode takes place in an alternative universe.
Yeah, fair enough. But I assume this is the only timeline that the principal is a plumber.
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. So so that's fair enough. So yeah, basically every adult in this town is a plumber because of course they are. So
Yeah.
And they find out that it's that there's a facility underground which Eon follows them and tries to break into it, but he cannot activate the device. And when Ben attempts to use the Omnitrix, it malfunctions and glows purple. So it refused to activate it because purple is bad.
Yeah. We also have another case of like Ben trying to go it alone when it comes to Eon.
Yeah, because he does.
He tries to lure out Eon by going alone, and Max and Gwen are like, "You're not doing this alone. We're family, and we're gonna stick by you through thick and thin."
Yeah, which is nice, but we've seen it before. We don't need to see it again. Ben, you need to grow up and learn and keep memory of these lessons. But yeah, so there was also one other thing that we glossed over, but I want to bring it up. So apparently, Ben has forgotten what a plumber actually is.
Yeah, like because Max brings up the plumbers back in the rust bucket, and he's like, "What is it? What does fixing toilets have to do with this?" And then Gwen's like, the plumbers,
Yes, the plumbers. Maybe fighting all the aliens is screwed with his memory somewhat.
But we then see sorry, words. We then see the final confrontation between Ben and Eon, as Eon pours his energy into the Omnitrix and transforms Ben into a Cronian.
Yeah, so at this
for
point,
some reason, this guy looked like his Cronian transformation looks like Kylo Ren from the sequels with like shorter hair.
You know what? That is fair. Actually, now that you've said that, I cannot unsee that now. Now, and oh my god, it just makes it even more funny considering the fact that Ben wants to look up to his grandfather's legacy as well. Oh, I cannot unsee that now that you've brought that up. Wait, am I acknowledging the sequels? I never acknowledged the sequels. The sequels don't happen. They never happened.
In this case, we can allow it for now. But
okay. You can come out of the sequels. You can come out of Luke pretends you don't exist land and come into reality for the time being.
We then have Gwen giving a Ben, stop this. This isn't who you are. Remember who you really are. You may be a complete and utter jackass, but
you're my jackass.
You're still my cousin, and I still care about your well-being.
Yeah, and again, I honestly do like those moments when Gwen actually does that. Back in season 1, when Ben was trying to be like, I need to do this alone. This is my weird watch. It has nothing to do with you. Yeah, but you're my weird cousin. It's like you get the impression that Gwen would be like the type of person that would be like, sometimes I want to kill you, but if push comes to shove, I'd kill for you. I do honestly get that impression from both of them. They'll fight a lot, they'll bicker like crazy, but when their backs to a wall, they'll have each other's back.
Yeah, we see more of that as the series goes on. Especially.
Yeah. Would you say that I'll probably enjoy their relationship in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien more so than in the classic series?
Oh, 1,000 times over.
Oh, good. I am looking forward to it then. So eventually, Ben, with the help of Gwen, is able to break through Eon's control over him.
Yep. We also trying to put words together again.
We also have Max trying to disable the time rift that Eon was trying to use to bring his race to Earth at the potential cost of his own life. And after this all happens, Ben presses the Omnitrix symbol under the cloak to refer himself back into Ben, and they manage to save Max and disable the time rift and send Eon's race back to their own dimension.
Yep. And for the talent show that they just realized is still happening, they used the Omnitrix's timeout to sort of act like because Ben. The way Eon's defeated is that Eon freezes time, and Ben, as Wildmutt, picks up Gwen and smacks Eon into the hands of Armageddon.
So he basically used Gwen as like a human baseball bat.
Essentially.
Yes. But the way they do in the talent show is a pretty clever way they do it. So but Gwen says like, "Hey, I'm a magician. This is my assistant Wildmort," and puts the curtain over Wildmort, who is transforming back into Ben, and when Ben appears from it, everyone's like, "How did they do that?"
Yep. Though unfortunately they lose the race for first place to just a bunch of
bunch of dancers. Like, weren't the judges watching that?
But hey, they did manage to get second place, and they went out for pizza.
Yeah, they did. As long as it doesn't have any worms on it, because Max would try to put worms on that pizza.
I mean, fuck, I'd eat it.
I wouldn't. But
that was race against time. Yeah, better than I was expecting.
Yeah. I did honestly enjoy it for what it was. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been Dragon Ball Evolution. Oh, we're not supposed to mention that.
Yeah. It's no like live action Sonic movie. But
you
could be watching worse.
You could be watching worse. The Last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Oh, what was that? I
don't know, but I think it's about time we get into Destroy All Aliens.
Yes, Destroy All Aliens, the first 3D CGI movie.
Yep, first and only.
All right. Yeah, so again, it is quite, again, like I said at the beginning, it is quite creative that they use three different art can't really say art style, for like 3 different filming techniques for the 3 different movies. So I do like that. Like, it gives them their own unique flavor. So like, it's not just like, oh, these are just like really big budget versions of the TV series. No, they do something different with each of them.
Yeah, and especially with Destroy All Aliens coming out in 2012, like a couple months before Omniverse. I think Ultimate Alien was wrapped up by the time. Wait, was Ultimate Alien wrapped up by Destroy All Aliens?
Yeah, you look it up. So we start off Destroy All Aliens by having street names named after the writers, which I found incredibly hilarious that we got that. It'll be like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna use my last name as an example. It'd be like if I was writing a TV show and it was just like, oh yeah, we're coming off of Percheck Lane. I do like that when they have those little nods into when the writers put those little nods into themselves. So it starts off with a chase because everything starts off with a chase in this franchise. But they're pursuing a runaway urban assault vehicle, and Gwen, being Gwen, we have to question: is she causing damage with her magic?
At least to things that. Yeah.
Yeah. But also as well, we have to question something about Max here. Where's his chin?
Yeah, like. And like some shots, it looks like his chin is like a part of his neck.
Yeah, let me get again. I'm gonna get up a picture of Max in this film. Max Destroy All Aliens, so that people can see what we mean.
Also, looking through Destroy All Aliens came out like over a week before the finale to Ultimate Alien.
Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, yeah, Max Destroy All Aliens. Look at this. Like, what is up with that chin? Like, what is up with that?
Yeah. Like, every other character looks fine. Ben, Gwen.
Yeah.
Ben's parents, they all look fine.
It's just Max.
Yeah, just Max. Oh, apparently, okay, so the finale to Ultimate Alien is The Ultimate Enemy Part 2, but actually the Ultimate Enemy Part 1, the first of the two-parter, actually came out a day after Destroy All Aliens.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but in terms of dealing with the assault vehicle, Ben and Gwen bicker on how to deal with it.
Because that's all. Go ahead.
Gwen wants to use a spell, Ben wants to use upgrade. So instead, they do both. And in no way is Gwen using a spell on a vehicle that Ben is possessing with upgrade. In no way is that going to have any sort of repercussions in this movie. Nope. It's just a one-off scene. We don't need to worry about it, and and the Omnitrix is busted again.
Yep, because how many times have they broken the Omnitrix in the classic series and these films? It must be like at least 5 times at this point.
Just wait till we keep going throughout the series. The
The
Omnitrix breaks more times than.
Actually, oh yeah, what would be a good comparison to the Omnitrix breaking more times?
I guess.
We'll find one. So yeah, the Omnitrix is broken again, and they're being told like, "Hey, we've got to save the universe. But they're being told like, "There's no point in saving the universe if you lose your family." And this is where we get the return as well of Tektrax and Asmith.
Yep. We also see Ben, but before we get there, Ben actually has a dream of like all of the aliens in the Omnitrix coming after him,
which is a pretty creepy scene.
Yeah, and another thing to note about this movie is, at least for while they get all the like classic series alumni back for this movie, they, instead of using classic Waybig's design, they instead use the design of Waybig from UAF.
Huh. So I guess I'm going to see more of this design coming up.
Yes, you are.
Okay, all right. So it's revealed that all this going on is just a dream. That Ben wakes up and he finds himself at his desk, and his teacher is like, "Hey, I want you to submit your homework, and you're going to do a history report on it." Because it's revealed that the Omnitrix is absorbing things into itself for some reason.
Yep.
And of course, as Ben is at his locker lamenting, who should come and annoy him but Cash and JT. And I'm just gonna say it right now, freaking Bulk and Skull weren't as in their faces about bullying the Rangers than these two are.
Well, that's because Bulk and Skull were bad at bullying.
Yeah.
But it's weird to say Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers are bad at bullying, but they are. They're not bullies. They're just goofballs.
Yeah, they are just goofballs. But at least they knew like when to leave the Rangers alone. These guys are just like, haven't you got anything else to do?
Of course not. They're bullies.
It's like I honestly want to know, like, okay, in this day and age when with bullies, I really want to know, like, okay, what are their parents up to?
Raising sociopaths.
Oh yeah, probably.
Uh, but
Yeah,
Ben decides to transform.
in his locker.
Which why would you do that? That just seems like.
I mean, logically, if he was to transform into, say, upgrade or grey matter, that could work because then he would be like shrunken down to size and he could get out through the vent area of the locker.
Yep, but instead he becomes Heat Blast and sets off the fire alarm. And when he gets inside of his house, he burned. There are burn marks all across the carpeting.
Yeah. And at this point, his parents are just like, "What's going on, Ben?" And he can't come up with any explanation for it. So,
I mean, how would you explain burn marks in the carpet?
You just tell your parents the truth and then be like, "Go and talk to Grandpa Max." That's how you do it. But Ben, being 10, doesn't think of that, and instead of going on a fishing trip with Max, his parents stick to his grounding punishment. Like, you are grounded, mister. But they don't realize who they're talking to. They're talking to a kid who has accelerate, so he can go out, do some stuff, and be back before they can open his bedroom door. But there's no time for that because we have Tech Trusts returning and finding Ben and just being like, "Hey, there's something going on here." Because as Ben is trying to also write his report about the age of explanation, his laptop disappears into it, and he thinks it's the Omnitrix, and he thinks the Omnitrix has vaporized it.
Yep.
So the whole point of Tech Trucks coming to find Ben is that, hey, I've got a message from Asmith and we need to meet with him.
Yep, but throughout this entire movie, Ben's just like, yeah, let's totally do that. It's not like I'm grounded or anything.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, you know that you've got to take responsibility for your actions sometimes. So you could have this could have so easily. All this film could have so easily been avoided if Ben just said to Tech Tracks, "Can we do this another time?"
Yeah, like, could be like, "Hey, look, I'm in some hot waters with my parents. So can we wait for all this to like simmer down a bit, and then Asmith can come fix my Omnitrix. We don't." So this won't have to get all messy. But in searching for Asmith, Ben nearly gets hit by a truck.
Yes. And how many times has Ben nearly killed himself trying to be the hero?
Too many times to count. And then suddenly a giant Toku star shows up, which I'm convinced is just from one of the Ben 10 video games, because there was a Ben 10 game, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien Cosmic Destruction, where Ben,
for the record, that's one of the coolest titles I've ever heard in my life.
Where there's like an enemy way big that's like the same color as the one here in the movie, and you fight him as way big.
Okay, and yeah, because Ben does try to transform into way big after seeing this, but instead he transforms into Stinkfly. And Tech Truck says to Stinkfly that, the fin on its head, it's its weakness. But it's here where we find out that the Omnitrix is messed up. It's messed up badly because it times out way too early for Stinkfly, so he refers back into Ben, resulting in him having to grab onto the fin, and have the Tukusta vanish when the Omnitrix flashes. And this is where Max finds out that Ben has left his room, even though he's meant to be grounded, and so Max takes a detour to try and find him because he was meant to be going on a fishing trip with Gwen, but Carl's like, "Hey, Dad, do you know where Ben is?" "No, why? He's supposed to be grounded." "Okay, I'll find him." Typical parents leaving it to the grandkids to sort out their own messes.
Leave it to the grandparents to worry about your kid.
Yeah. I am. On that subject, just to go off on a tangent, I'm still waiting for the moment that Garp and Dragon have that conversation about raising Luffy, and he's just there like, "Why do I have to take charge of your kid? He's your kid, son."
We also see Tetrax activate a setting on the Omnitrix, which he doesn't tell Ben, but it allows him to stay in alien form and not revert back to human.
Which, based on what the Omnitrix has been doing so far, that might be the best option.
But then somebody shoots at Tetrax's ship, and Ben sucked out of the ship and falls to the earth, ending up at Stonehenge.
Yep, and this is where we have Ben having a fight at Stonehenge, which again attacking real life monuments that shouldn't be attacked.
He also meets what looks to be a galvanic mechamorph. And the two. And then the mechamorph says that Stonehenge is actually just a Galvan practical joke.
Which, okay, that was pretty funny. Because you could just imagine that in the Ben 10 universe, that all the wonders of all the countries are just practical alien jokes.
Yeah, because they also end up going to Egypt with this mysterious mechamorph saying that the pyramids were made by Tetramans.
Yes, they knew it. We knew it. Stargate was right. Aliens built the pyramids. We were right all along. The nerds were right all along. That raises the question if in the Ben 10 universe, did Diamond Head's species create the Statue of Liberty?
No, because that was made by the French.
No, but I know, but I just imagine that being the story that it's spun, where it's like, no, my species. Tetrax says, no, my species did build the Statue of Liberty. We just gave the credit to the French because we don't like how it turned out. That would be funny. That would be pretty funny. Like they didn't like it. Oh. They tried to make it look like what's the name of Tetrax's species?
Petrosapien.
They tried to make it look like a Petrosapien, but the budget for it was too high, so they had to change it to a human female, and they didn't like it. So we're like, how can we get out of this mess? What? Who's that there? Oh, it's someone from France. Yeah, let's give credit to them. Would be
here, America. Have your statue. Bye.
That would have been hilarious if that was the case.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because it's like the Statue of Liberty is made of metal and it's green, and Tetrax's species are like a mineral and they're also green. So I like to think that they were trying to do that, but it ended up the way it did in the Ben 10 universe.
Yeah, that is interesting. We also see them end up in and end up in Rio de Janeiro as well.
Yep.
As soon as I saw that, I'm just like, Jesus wants a hug.
Yeah, Jesus wants a hug. And I've got to wonder now, like, if my theory about the Statue of Liberty ever came true. Like, what excuse would they make for the statue of Jesus in Rio de Janeiro?
I would say, maybe, I don't know, maybe the Gormans made it.
Maybe. And they
maybe the Gormans were around during during the time when Jesus walked the earth, and they're like, yeah, that Jesus fella, he was a good guy. Hey, come on, let's build a statue.
Oh my god! Or they were the first ones to write the Bible.
The Bible was written by upchuck species. Fuck it, why not?
The Bible was written by aliens.
But eventually they do end up back at Bellwood, where Tetrax explains to Max about this setting he made for the Omnitrix, which pisses off Max royally, because Ben is in the middle of potentially bumfuck nowhere and can't make it home.
Yeah, and it's good that, and Max, this is what you should have done in that what if story with Cash and JT. You should have been pissed at them just like you pissed at Tetrax here.
It then turns out that the truck that Ben almost got hit by was actually Azimuth's ship, and Gwen also discovers the ship log, where Asmund states that he was coming down to fix a malfunction in the Omnitrix.
Yeah, which again, they could have waited so longer for that if Ben had just said, I am grounded, I can't do this right now.
But then again, this is Ben we're talking about.
Yeah, this is
10-year-old Ben.
Yeah, 10-year-old Ben. It is eventually revealed that that the one behind what's going on here is Asmith's father, who is evil. It was evil, big way big.
No. It's revealed that Asmith is the evil way big because only because of the dismantling spell Gwen used on Upgrade, it's causing the Omnitrix to constantly download and upload its any contents. It downloaded not only Ben's laptop but also his homework. And it uploaded the DNA for Wildman Heat Blast DNA, mutating Ben's parents.
Yeah. Yep. Which I've got to say is because why not? Why not do that at this point? You've mutated Max, so why not mutate Ben's parents?
We also see for a time Ben, Gwen, Tetrax, and Dadsmith, as I'm gonna call him, be uploaded into the Omnitrix, where Dadsmith and Ben are forced to work together against a horde of stinkflies.
Which they're going to need a good long shower after this.
Yeah, and we see Gwen and Tetrax being attacked by a swarm of Vulpamancers.
Okay. Also, as well, thanks for joining, Party Jams. When you said what a crazy thing to jump into for the stream, was the point where you jumped in when I was making the theory about Tetrax's species creating the Statue of Liberty? I want to know that. Yeah, carry on.
We also Also, for some reason, like the Omnitrix down like has like a replica of Petropia in like its data banks, which don't know how that worked, but I digress. It's that then the giant evil Toku star comes bursting out of the Omnitrix.
Oh, no, it was the Bible Jesus jokes. Okay, okay. So so to put into context for you, Pie Jams, we were talking about like the Stone Engine, the Ben 10 universe being a practical alien joke, and aliens building the pyramids. And I made the joke of like, what if Tetrax's species was trying to create their own version of the Statue of Liberty, but it didn't turn out the way they did. So that they were just like, we'll give the credit to the French. That was the joke I was making, and then we made the joke about the Jesus as well.
Yeah, because Dad Smith and Ben ended up teleporting to Rio.
Yeah. But anyway, back to what we were saying.
We get a way big on way big fight, which if you played Ultimate Alien Cosmic Destruction, you would be very used to. Which honestly, I don't think I've ever played any of the Ben 10 games.
It'll probably have to be something that we'll have to check to see where we can actually get them. Like, are there any on Steam? That's a question.
No.
Ah. Oh no, there is. There is. Oh. Yeah, Ben, Gwen, and Grandpa Max once again have their cross-country road trip in the Rust Bucket cut short by super villains and their evil Wolverine plans. As Ben said, it's up to you to save the world. So yeah, there is one on Steam. So I'll have to get that and play it.
I think it might be based on the reboot, though.
Ben 10 bundle includes. So we got. So there's that game, Ben 10, and then there's Ben 10 Power Trip.
Oh, I think Power Trip's the one based on the reboot.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or maybe they're both based on the reboot. I don't fucking know. But Asmith then states what's Gwen then casts a spell on the evil Waybig, trying to access its mind to fix the Omnitrix, because it is Asmith.
Okay, yeah, and I believe this is the first time that Gwen has done something like this when using a spell to read someone's mind.
I think so too. Yeah, like she'll. I think that might come up again, like Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, but for now, yeah, first time. And then using he then starts using like Dad Smith's like mechamorph armor to try and fix the Omnitrix. And then in a flash, evil Waybig is now Asmith is back to normal.
Yeah. And go ahead.
As Asmith then goes on to say that the reason for the Omnitrix's malfunction is because it was overloaded with mana.
So it was all Gwen's fault. It was all Gwen's fault. And of course, this leads to Ben and Gwen arguing again, but leads into the line that I think every Ben 10 fan watching this was like, finally someone said it. Do you two ever stop arguing?
Yeah. It also turns out that the that we do actually see Dad Smith is actually a Galvin, and he was just wearing mechamorph armor that pumps up his aggression. Then Asmith, Dad Smith, Ben, and Gwen then return Ben's parents back to normal, and even fix and even fix up the rust bucket. And later, Ben gives his history reports on the age of exploration.
Yeah, as Tetrax leaves Earth and the Tennessons are going on another road trip, but of course they can't have it in peace. And Dr. Animo makes a cameo at the end of this movie with his giant mutant frogs that are going to attack the Konosuba gang. And so Ben, Gwen, and Max have to stop him from doing that. And that's where the movie ends. So overall, I would it's hard to rank the movies in general because they all have their pros and cons.
Honestly, I liked Destroy All Aliens and Race Against Time about the same. It does feel like that the entire story of Destroy All Aliens is just the result of nobody talking to each other.
Yes, it's like Ben, Tetrax, Max, just talk to each other. Or here's a crazy idea, Ben. Tell your parents the truth. Tell your parents the truth. Show them you can turn into these aliens, and say to them, "Go and talk to Grandpa Max."
Encourage communication. Ow, my hand.
Yeah, it's like, again, this is just like one of the biggest criticisms I've had with Ben 10 up until now. It's like Ben's parents are just like they're just like their semi-gullible nature of not asking Max anything. But I digress. I would say, because it could have been a whole lot worse, and it was something different, I would say probably Race Against Time was probably the best out of these films.
I gotta go with Secret of the Omnitrix.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but like I said, it's kind of hard to rank them because they all have their pros and cons. But
yeah,
would I recommend watching them? Absolutely. They could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah. I especially recommend Secret of the Omnitrix personally because it is canon to the story of Ben 10.
Fair enough. I don't
Destroy All Aliens, but it's not like required viewing.
Yeah. I wouldn't say bleh. I wouldn't technically class Secret of the Omnitrix as like a quote unquote film, even though they class it as one, because it's just like the three first episodes of season 4 just smashed together. But yeah, so that was the Ben 10 movies, and yeah, it was probably for the best that we did do a separate video on them, considering it has been an hour and 35 minutes. So had we done them as part of the original video, it would have been clocking up on 6 hours. So yeah, that was our take on the movies, and we're done with all of the classic stuff now. So we'll see you next time for Ben growing up, Gwen growing up, everything growing up, and being a lot more serious in Ben 10 Alien Force. So until then, peace.